Year 10 Polynomials Exam Practice Question 2. So we are looking at this polynomial here, which is the function of x is equal to x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared plus 6x minus 40. So the first thing it says is show that x minus 5 is not a factor of the function of x. Now, for us to really understand what a factor is, we would have got is quadratic, and we would have factorized it into this form. This form here tells me the factors, but there's nothing left over. That means if this is 0, everything is 0. And I want us to apply that understanding in relation to this. All I need to do to find if this is a factor is substitute in 5. If it is a factor, my answer will turn out to be 0. If it's not a factor, I will have leftovers. So that just means all we need to do is just substitute it in. Function of 5 is equal to 5 to the power of 3 minus 3x. My x is 5 squared plus 6 times 5 minus 40. 5 to the power of 3 is 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5, which is 125. 5 squared is 25. 25 times 3 is 75, so let's take away 75, plus 5 times 6 is 30, minus 40. I can solve this now by going 125 take 75, which is 50. 50 plus 30 is 80, and 80 take away 40 is 40. So that tells me if I substitute 5 into my function, I will end up with 40. So that shows me that it is not a factor. Now, if we look at finding a linear factor, we are able to either do it through trial and error using long division, or we can use our understanding of we need to get 0. So that means I am just going to pick different numbers and put it into my function. So I'll start off with positives of 1 to 4. And if they don't work, I will then change what I'm doing and I will look at the negatives 1 to 4. It's always better to start with the smaller numbers to sub in, because we should be able to find a factor. So let's have a go. So the first thing I'm going to look at is substituting 1 into my polynomial. So I've got 1 to the power of 3 minus 3 times 1 squared plus 6 times 1 minus 40. 1 to the power of 3 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Times 3 is 3, so take away 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 6 minus 40. Straight away I can see here I'm not going to equal 0. So the function of 1 does not equal 0. Let's look at 2. So again, I'm going to put 2 into my equation for x. 2 to the power of 3 minus 3 times 2 squared plus 6 times 2 minus 40. 2 to the power of 3 is 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So then I'm left with 8, and I've got 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, so I'm taking away 12. And then I've got plus 2 times 6 is 12 minus 40. Again, these two will cancel out, and it just leaves me with 8 take away 40. Again, it does not equal 0. So it means that is not a factor. So I'll then go down to the, evaluating with 3. So that just means I'm putting 3 into my equation. 3 to the power of 3, take away 3 times 3 squared, plus 6 times 3 minus 40. And then I'm going to solve it. 3 to the power of 3 is 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So I'm taking away the same thing. Plus 6 times 3, 6, 12, 18, minus 40. So these two are cancelling out, but I'm still left with an 18 minus 40, which is a negative, and I've got leftovers. So which means it is not a factor. Lastly, I will look at substituting 4 into my equation. So I've got 4 to the power of 3 minus 3 times 4 squared plus 6 times 4 minus 40. So the next thing I want to do is just solve this. 4 to the power of 3 is 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is just double. 16, 32, 64. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3. Again, if we need to do it on the side, that's absolutely fine. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So we've got 48. Then it says I've got 4 times 6 is 6, 12, 18, 24. Minus 40. So, if I go 64 take away 48 plus 24 minus 40, it equals 0. So the function of 4 is equal to 0, which means we have finally found our factor. So our factor must be, if we need x to be 4, then it must be x minus 4 is our factor. Hopefully that really helps you understand how to find a factor for a polynomial.